Okay, this is a quick guide to a few ways of deploying Create React app on Netlify. So the first way is cloning sort of like a pre-built project. I have one here, deploy Create React app at this URL. And literally all you do is you click the deploy to Netlify button. It says welcome to Netlify. You connect to GitHub or whatever provider you want. I'm just going to say test one. It says save and deploy. And then it says deploy in progress. So then it's going to start building here, and once it's done, you will have deployed, and also it's created a repo for you saying create React app test one. The repo is only populated after the initial deploy, so that will be soon-ish. So that is option one. It's literally a one-click button, and we'll return to this once the continuous deployment is set up and done. The second method that you will want to be aware of is starting it up from scratch, and I'm going to start by going to testbeds and show CRA tutorial. And then I'm going to say npx create React app. So I'm literally creating React app from scratch, right? New app. And I just want to show you exactly the steps for doing this. Meanwhile, on the left, we're still building, and oh, it's deployed. So what you can see over here is if I refresh in that repo that was created, it's scaffolded out the app, as well as on the site here, it's given you a URL. And yeah, that's the basic Create React app. Okay, so I think that's good. And what else am I going to show you? You can also change the name. So for example, the site name, I can call it something different, like create React app test one, something like that. Oh, two, whatever. Doesn't matter, right? Like the point is you can change the name if you want, or you can buy a custom domain down here, and you can choose a custom domain. Okay, so we're still scaffolding this other app. It's kind of all I really want to show you. All right, so I'm going to create a new GitHub repo for this. So this is create React app test one. I'm going to create a new repo. So this is the second way of deploying. I already showed you the first way. So this is the second way of deploying. And now we have a new create React app. Just to show you that it works, I'm going to yarn start. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to open it up in VS Code so that I can do multiple things at once. So that's a yarn start over there. And I'm also going to say, so this is a new Git. Yeah, whatever. Git remote add origin, and I'm going to paste in my my repo. All right, so this is the Create React app running locally. And now what we're going to do is we're going to push it. So git push origin master. Right. So now in this second repo over here, we'll be able to refresh, and we'll see the results of the Create React app second repo. And what we're going to do with this one is that we're going to say we're going to go to app.netlify.com. So I'll presume that you're logged in. You say new site from GitHub, and you paste in the repo that you created. And then you're going to say, I think that's right. Interesting. So now it's deploying the second site, which is also create React app. Again, I'm going to go and customize it because I like to. And now it's deploying as well. And the third way, so this is the second way, and we're gonna let it run and build, and then I'll show you that it does build properly. So now I've deployed it twice already. The third way is to do it locally, or to set it up locally. So you have to have the npm. You have to have the Netlify CLI installed. I already do. So you should get something like Netlify. Once you have the Netlify CLI installed, you should have the version thing running here. I have a local symlink running, that's why it's so slow. So something like this, right? 2.12 is what I have. I think it's a little bit higher version now. But basically, oh, here it's already deployed. So here's our second deployment, and that's a create React app in second deployment. The first one was my mistake. We actually deployed the create React app doc site, but it's a similar process. You just click a button. Okay, third method. So we have the CLI installed, and then now what we're going to do is we're going to say Netlify init, and what that's going to do is say, okay, you have a Git folder. You can either connect this to an existing site or create and configure a new site. We're going to choose create and configure a new site, just pretending that we haven't set this up before. And we'll say something like create React app test 3, right? And here we'll specify yarn build and direct you to deploy. When we run yarn build, it's going to export to a build folder, so we'll just say build. We'll choose to persist these settings with netlify.toml. And so now we'll have a .netlify folder. So now it's linked, and then we'll be able to push it. So we'll commit this, add netlify.toml. So now we have this committed, right? And then we'll be able to say git push origin master. All right, so let's see this happen in create React app test 2. So that's already committed. We added the Netlify toml. Now we can also say something like Netlify status to check the link status and get some details as well. Or we can say Netlify open, and that will open up the test board for test 3. Sorry, that will open up the dashboard for test 3. And that's another deploy in progress. I can go ahead and cancel this deploy because we don't need it, but we can wait for this to start happening. Yeah, cool. So that's the third way. And finally, the fourth way, I'm going to build this locally. So up till now, we've been using Netlify's build bot. So it's a continuous deployment system. It installs and runs your build command right here, like we showed you. We don't have to use it, and it's actually pretty helpful to push things directly to Netlify sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Netlify unlink. I can also delete this folder, and that would be the same thing, Netlify unlink, and that will unlink this particular site. And then now you see that state is gone now. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. So now we're just pretending we have a blank, a fresh create React app, right? So I can just say yarn build, and it's going to say React script build. And so what this is doing, instead of what we did over here, is that we're building it locally on our desktop. This means we can fully control things, we can manually change things to debug. It's a pretty good flow for debugging, but not for production. For production, you always want to have continuous deployment down in here. Okay, so I have built it locally, and now you can see everything that it's built by Create React App. And the whole point is to just deploy this folder directly up to Netlify, right? So I can say something like Netlify init. Actually, no, hang on. So let's say I can say Netlify deploy. Sorry, Netlify deploy. I think this will prompt me to add a file. So our third build is done, and the third build again is going to look exactly the same because we didn't do any changes. But this is done through the Netlify init CLI command, right? So all right, we're back on our fourth way. The fourth way is create and configure a new site. And then we'll say something random, like create reactor sites test 4. We don't need a functions folder. Okay, so that is unnecessary. All right. We're going to run Netlify deploy again. Good. So now, if you run Netlify deploy raw, it's just going to create a draft URL. All right. Notice that took no build time at all because we already did the build time locally. And so that's pretty good flow for debugging anything in production. Once you're pretty happy with this, you can actually run Netlify deploy -- prod, and that will actually deploy it to the root domain without the prefix. So here, create React App test 4 .netlify.com. So that's the fourth way. I like recommending this just because it's very, very good for debugging. But always remember to link it up and commit for continuous deployment so that you have a one-to-one update of your site with your GitHub. Okay, that's it. Thank you.